Yeah.
There's not one day of that month, of those 3 weeks, those 19 days or 20 days, that there will not be a drag and drive somewhere in the world. How cool is that? All right, guys. Well, welcome to episode 62 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, we've got a good show tonight. Luke B from Howard's Cams is on, and we're going to talk about I don't know, huge cams, mega chop, and what a fairgrounds cruiser cam is made of. I don't even know what that is, but I like it. But before that, we're going to talk about Dragon Drive World Champion updates because I was working on that part of the website. May and June Dragon Drive event calendars, and a new show is premiering on PowerTube TV tonight, and so we're going to talk a little bit about it as well. All right, Eric, please, sir, will you hit that button on that intro video and let's get to this thing.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road, trying to make it the next day.
Guys, my name's Mike Narx. I am the host of the Drag Drive Repeat show, Drag Drive Repeat news, and the Circuit Drag and Drive event that just happened a couple weeks ago. And my main man right over here, my RHM, my right hand man, Mr. Eric White. Introduce yourself and tell them what you got going on, dude, because it's a bunch.
I am Eric White. I've been helping with everything with Drag Drive Repeat, co-host of both the show and the news. Photos, that's been a huge bump in
Yeah.
everything from the circuit. That's been great. Graphic design. And then when I'm not helping here, I am over running my channel, which is 815 LSX. Which breaking news here first? It just passed 1.5 million total channel views. So that's pretty awesome.
That's very awesome. Not pretty awesome. That's very awesome. Congratulations. That's been hard work, dude. You said 4 years. That's a it's a long time, man. You've been committed, and we appreciate that for sure. So, guys, if you're not doing that, follow Eric at 815 LSX swaps on all the things. That's actually what created our friendship was that channel.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. 4 years
awesome.
ago on May 19th.
Yeah, that's for
So
sure,
coming
dude.
up,
It's
coming up
crazy.
soon.
That is so crazy. Well, guys, we can't do this without you. I don't know if you know this or not, but our race car friends make the world go around. That's exactly what happens when it's 1 a.m. and we're like, man, I want to go to sleep. And then somebody says something or makes a comment or something like that. And it just helps fuel our fire to keep going and keep doing this because I'll tell you, it's hard sometimes, that's for sure. And thanks to our sponsors. We hung banners today at Tulsa Raceway Park and hung up a lot of Summit banners. Summit is all over the place in all of motorsports, and we appreciate them being part of the program here at Drag Drive Repeat. Thanks to Molly Motorsport. You see, I got my hat on here, but also I was recording before this for the first episode of the Southeast Gassers Association, and Molly's a sponsor of their program over there as well. Freaking cool, man. I love it. Driven Racing Oil, love those guys. That whole team. Oh, you're wearing the Driven Racing Oil hat. I'm telling you that's one of the best fitting hats that I've got. And the oil, I'm sure, helps performance wise. I mean, it's definitely what some of the top teams use. But I don't have any project car that runs, so I wouldn't know about that. And then Car Change 3D, he just dropped a brand new product. I don't know if you saw that or not. The S10 bezel
Yep.
looks super cool. Look up Car Change 3D, Performer built transmissions. Man, Ryan and the team over there, dude, they've been doing like almost like live stream podcast stuff. It's been awesome with a bunch of drag and drive racers like Howie and Robbie Price and Nick Schaff. It's been super cool. And Howard's Cams, they're one of our sponsors, but Luke's going to be on tonight, and we're going to talk about, like I said, big chop, big cam, big stuff. A lot of big questions that we're going to have put out tonight. Sweet Patina, I'm wearing the shirt. One thing we hadn't talked about is how you can get 10% off your order using DDR10 on all of your orders at sweetpatina.com. Dude,
That's right.
how have you not ordered TKO hand cleaning wipes and used code DDR10 for 10% off? And then, of
Yeah,
course,
those should be in everybody's toolbox, everybody's
oh yeah,
drag and drive trailer.
yep.
Everybody needs hand wipes for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then Racing Junk Classifieds, dude, brand new section, drag and drive section for you to select on there. We're going to do a few features this weekend from that drag and drive segment within Racing Junk Classifieds. And then, of course, our newest media partner, PowerTube TV. Awesome. Love those guys over there. Freaking cool, man. I can't wait to see the Southeast Gasser video come out. If it's half of what we have done with all the content before, it's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
Yep. Well, let's get into this, guys. Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. Fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. In 2014, they launched the Summit Racing mobile app, so it's been around a long time. If you haven't downloaded it, you need to. For easy access to speed parts, find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Also, you can find them on All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Find your next speed parts at summitracing.com. All right, dude. Let's talk about Drag and Drive World Champion stuff because
Yeah,
we really haven't talked much about it simply because there's been one event. Dude, it's hard to talk about world champion points when there's been one event. Like everybody has the points they've had since February at Sick Week. Okay,
yeah,
so we're in the second year of this Dragon Drive World Champion presented by Summit, y'all. This is going to be a big deal. Again, we're awarding this at PRI 2024, and again, we're doing the big award show that we'll have on Thursday at 11 a.m. And I've been messaging back and forth with our lady at PRI, and I'm hoping we're going to get a better spot this year because there were folks that were there that didn't see us. And dude,
right.
us for telling them not to find us, but listen, or for not helping them find us. But that's not going to be the case this year. I may have to get thrown out with flags and banners and big loud noise. I'm telling you right now, people are going to see us. They're going to have some fun. All last year, the folks that did find us, I'm telling you, several hundred, 7 or 8, 900 people that came by the booth. Everybody around us had a good time talking to all the Dragon Drive racers. Um,
Yeah,
I've been updating. I've been working on the world champion page within the website, so you can find all the rules, all the stand. Well, you can't find all the standings yet; they're coming, but you can't find all the. You can find all the rules and what events qualify and things like that at dragdriverepeat.com/world champion. You can see that there. I want to talk about the top 3 racers in points right now. We've got Brett Lasala, we've got Bryant Goldstone, and Stefan Gustafson, 3 guys that obviously laid it down, 6-second passes, but there are 6 racers that are tied at 1 point below the top scorers. Like
uh,
it's open. It is an open field right now. And we've talked to Brett earlier, and he said he didn't know if he was going to do any more Dragon Drives this year, but man, I don't know how he can't, dude. I'm telling you, he's poised to win it.
right. Yeah, he would definitely be a tough one to beat if
Yeah.
he did a couple more events.
Yep. Another big name, obviously, Bryant Goldstone, our current standing champion, 2023, first ever Dragon Drive World Champion. Bryant Goldstone is coming to Rocky Mountain Race Week.
Oh
Did you hear
boy.
me? Did you hear me, boy? I'm so ready to see him compete with those racers because there's a lot of racers at Rocky Mountain Race Week that have never done like a sick week or a drag week or something like that, which Bryant typically attends. So this is going to be really fun. I'm interested to see how he likes the evening racing as compared to the morning racing that you see with all the other event styles. I don't know, man. What do you think? You think he's going to have fun? Well, he's going to have fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you can not have fun. I
Yeah,
think the racing at night is definitely cool. Obviously, the track's gonna be a little cooler, so you'll
yep,
have to tune for that. But the air is gonna be much better in the evening as well, so you'll be able to turn it
yeah,
up if you can get traction and get down there straight.
yeah. I'm ready to see how he attacks the drive part of it. Is he going to do the morning? Like, is he going to drive in the mornings and drive to the track and race that afternoon, or will him and whoever's going to be his co-pilot? I think Brian Robbins is his plan to co-pilot so far for Rocky Mountain. Are they going to finish racing and then drive several hours or all the way at night and then sleep late into the morning? So it's going to be really interesting to see that. 1.0 this year is going to be really, really pretty crazy because you're going to have Tulsa, Ennis, Texas, and then Oklahoma City. From Oklahoma City, you get a drive day in the middle of this, and you're going all the way to Mocan Dragway.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a drive.
Dude, it's a trip. It is a trip. It's like I want to say it's like 300 and some 380 miles or something like that. It's a lot further than what I thought it was going to be. So that should be pretty fun to watch that play out. Now, sadly for 1.0, I won't see them at Mocan. I'm going to drive right by there on my way towards Midwest Drag Race Series, but I'm pumped about him being there. And
Yeah,
then one of the folks that is tied, kind of one of those 6 racers is Matt Moore. Did you see that the shop car is listed for sale?
I did. I was kind of
Dude,
surprised, but
blew my mind.
yeah. Yeah, it's a very nice car. I've seen
Yeah,
it multiple times at multiple events. So, I think it was 95 as a roller and 120 something as a turnkey.
man, that's crazy. You can spend that kind of money and literally walk into, I think Adam Dory said it the other day, like you can write a check and be a class winner.
Right.
If you can race that car that quickly. And I'm sure Matt will be at some events or he would help you tune that car for sure.
Yeah, and that
Well,
card not only does drag and drive, but it also does other
oh
racing.
yeah,
So it comes with both setups. You can get the track setup with smaller radiator and everything, and then you get the full drag and drive setup as well
yeah,
with the car. So I
yeah.
mean, you can take it drag and drive racing, you can take it grudge racing at your local track. You can do a bunch with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting to see that is available out there. Well, the next 4 eligible points events are Six Summer coming up in June, Big Sky Race Week coming up in June, BC Draglet Challenge coming up in June, and Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0 coming up in June.
Hey, I think June's going to be a busy month.
June is going to be busy. And what's going to be wild about that is not only is it going to be busy for Dragon Drive racers, it's going to be busy for us putting all the points together because after each of those events, the points will change,
Yep.
which means we've got to go in, we've got to make those posts, we've got to get those things. That's why I want to start talking about this right now, is because you guys have to get ready for that level of just outright bombardment of stats, right? Because that's when it gets fun. So when you have a big move like that for June, then we're going to kind of sprinkle some in July, and then we have another huge September with 3 events ending on the same day.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, and those events are eligible for points. So as we move through all of that, just think like I may lock myself in a room that next week and not see or talk to anybody because I'll be working through stats. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that's what I enjoy about doing this part of that stuff is the stats and the side of things. So we're going to get back to a lot more of that. We've done a lot of story type stuff. We're going to go back. I'm going to find the interesting stories within the drag and drive community. We're going to talk about those. So points are going to
Just think
change drastically in June is what I'm saying.
Yeah, just think about how busy you've been the last few months with
Yeah.
barely any events going on, and
Yeah.
then think what it's going to be like in June.
Well, I'm telling you, we've been busy, really busy the last few months because of the circuit stuff.
Well,
And
yeah, that's true.
luckily, we're through that. Raised more than $8,000 for a local children's charity. 161 cars on the property. That was pretty time consuming in that. And now I'm ready, man. It kind of got me revitalized, I'll say, because we come off of sick week, and then there wasn't anything that we did until the circuit. That was too long.
Yeah,
So I'm building.
basically 1 month from today is going to be sick summer.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
bring it
June,
on.
yeah, June 9th through 14th. So
Bring it on. Well, I'm building a new page for all of the Dragon Drive World Champions points and all that kind of standings and everything that'll be there. But it's going to take me another week because we have the throwdown in T Town this week at Tulsa Raceway Park. And then, of course, dude, huge
this is
congratulations to Sick
crazy.
Week. Ah, man, it's awesome. It is really awesome for them. I love seeing the support that the community gives them, obviously. And I'm telling you, this is a big win for the community. It's a huge win for Sick the Magazine. I mean, let's be honest. This is a big pat on the back for putting on one of the biggest events out there. Oh, we're actually looking for the car name. We're looking for the car name. So, can anybody tell us the car name? Again, this is a 12-inch drag drive repeat decal from the wagon that does a wheelie in the intro video and destroys the oil pan. Yep, right there. All right. So sorry, back to Sick the Magazine here. Congratulations to them. I wonder, I didn't see in the article, maybe I just didn't read thoroughly enough, but how many votes were turned in? Because it had to be a lot. I mean, obviously they talked about it, we talked about it, everybody shared it. This is a huge win for them in the sport. So
Yeah,
congratulations to them.
do you remember what other events it was up against?
Oh, dude, like the Indianapolis 500, Daytona 500. I think it was one of the bike weeks, maybe Sturgis or something like that. There's a whole list of things as we went down through, and I was like, wow. I thought Las Vegas F1 race. I mean, really, really pretty crazy. Not the jack wagon. Nope.
Yeah,
This was at Sick Week 2024.
yeah, so that's pretty impressive, and
Yeah.
I think that really shows you what this community is capable of
Hmm.
when you get everybody together and say, "Hey, this is what we're going up against. Everybody go vote," and this is proof that, it can happen, and that's
Yeah.
incredible for them and incredible for the whole drag and drive community. Why gamble with performance or protection when you get proven results from Driven Racing Oil? Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts around the world. Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which comprise their GP1 line. Then, Driven boosts that superior base with state of the art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can even shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by using methanol or nitro based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following them on Facebook and Instagram at Driven Racing Oil or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, dude, let's talk about some event stuff because the events for May are essentially over. We have a couple days of May that these events will do, which is May 31st, I guess is the only day. We have Drop the Hammer and the Olympic Dragon Drive, which I've been messaging back and forth with Olympic. I think they're going to be on either next week or maybe the week after. Drop the Hammer obviously kicks off. That's Carl Stansel, and that is going to be in Michigan, May 31st through June 2nd. And at the same time, on the other part of the country, Olympic Dragon Drive is taken over in Olympic or in the Pacific Northwest. Going to be all kinds of really fun stories from there. I think we're probably going to see several hundred cars between both events. Both events have really ramped up and are really beginning their kind of, I would say run into the event promotion. So we're going to see a lot more posts from the events, a lot of car stuff, a lot of racers. If you are attending these events, dude, hit the share button on these events, man. Post your car, talk about, make comments in the stuff, man. That really has been something I've seen lacking. We had a really good run with the circuit and people trash talking and just kind of keeping that momentum alive, which is what we love to see.
Yeah, or if
So
you need artwork done, I
yeah,
know.
please hit up Eric if you need something. That's really kind of, I would say, is a part that the promoters struggle with sometimes, is even just getting
Coming up
that
with
stuff
what to
posted.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Eric has tons of ideas, and between him and I, we can come up with something and some ideas for you to post. We've got
Yeah.
May 31st through June 2nd. Then you've got 6 days there where there's not much. Then you've got two events that kick off. You got Six Summer and Alaska Speed Week. Alaska Speed Week opened their registration today.
Yep.
Today. Like,
I saw that.
it's cutting it close, man. That is cutting it close. But the great thing about Alaska Speed Week is they have that community of racers that are there that are going to be there, and they've been looking for it. We've known the dates for a while. So you got Six Summer, which is sold out. You've got Alaska Speed Week, both starting June 9th. They run all week. Six Summer ends on Friday. Alaska Speed Week ends on Sunday the 16th. On the 14th of June, you kick off UK Street Weekend.
Yep.
So that weekend, we're going to have that Friday, we'll have 3 events, 2 that are, Six Summer ending. I said 6 weeks, sorry. Six Summer ends. Alaska Speed Week goes into their last few days, and then UK Street Weekend kicks off. Dude, all over
Yeah,
the world. Like you
I was
can't
gonna
do it
say.
anymore all over the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're talking like three very different locations there.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got, Santa Pod in the UK. You've got Alaska. Dude, it's Alaska. And then
Right.
you got, Iowa and Illinois and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then Sunday, the 16th, kicks off Big Sky Race Week. So we end on the 14th. Now, this was the last time we talked to Jesse Fox. End on the 14th. He jumps in the car and hauls it as fast as he can to Big Sky Race Week. So then you run Big Sky Race Week until the 19th. Well, sorry. Big Sky Race Week runs until the end of the week. But BC Drag It Challenge kicks off on the 19th. Okay. BC Drag It Challenge runs all the way until the 24th. Okay. Starting the 23rd, Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0 kicks off. So
Lots of overlap.
remember when we had that time, I think it was last September, when there was like one day in the middle of September where there was nothing? We do not have that starting June 9th through June 28th.
Yeah.
There's not one day of that month, of those 3 weeks, those 19 days or 20 days, that there will not be a Dragon Drive somewhere in the world. How cool is that, man?
Yeah. And if you're friends with Mike or I on Facebook
Yeah.
and you don't want to see all these races, you're probably going to want to mute us because
Yeah.
you're going to see everything from these events.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely intense to think that there are that many events. And here's what's crazy to me. And this is probably a stab at some promoters. And this is probably going to make people not like me. But listen, that's a bunch of events to stack on top of each other. When we literally we're going to have 2 regional events in all of May.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, come on now. And I think we're going to see that because these guys started on these events last year.
Right.
So nobody really knew that these were going to stack on each other like that when they started planning them in October of last year or August of last year. They didn't really think about that. But this is moving forward. I think we'll see some people kind of shuffle their dates around a little bit, so we're not maybe on top of each other. I would hope to see that, anyways. I would hope to see that. But
We're
one
going
thing
to
that you and I love is that it's going to be a busy month.
Yeah, I was going to say looking at our show dates there, Wednesday the 12th, 19th and 26th.
Yeah.
There's going to be no lack of things to talk about, that's for sure.
Right. Well, yeah, dude, that's 100%. So you have the Saturday that of the 15th of June 15th that we will do the drag drive repeat news.
Yep.
That's going to have Six Summer updates and possibly point standings updates for the Dragon Drive World Champion.
Yep.
And then literally the 19th we'll have a completely different set of points, Dragon Drive World Champion points set up. Then the 22nd you would have a whole nother set. The 23rd you would have the 23rd would have a different set, or the 22nd would have a different set, and the 26th and the 29th.
How
Every time
crazy is
we get
that?
on from the 15th forward, we'll have a different Dragon Drive World Champion points leader.
Yeah, potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll
That
definitely be some shakeups for sure.
yeah, that'll be kind of cool. We'll have to figure out something fun to do with that.
Yeah,
Woo woo.
that's awesome, Jeremy Ortiz. It's exciting to see that he'll be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Rocky Mountain Race Week. And the reason I was reminded of that is because of the changes for Rocky Mountain Race Week and their sponsorship setup. So
Saw
1320 has
that.
typically been, kind of their title sponsor for a long time. I'm excited to announce that the title sponsor is now going to be Motion Raceworks, which was the presenting sponsor before. So they're moving into the title sponsor role. And Sikta Magazine, on another big step forward for the community, is taking over as the presenting sponsor for Rocky Mountain Race Week. It's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, It's great to see everybody kind of coming together for these events. It's
Yep.
the community's got to stick together and everybody's got each other's back, which is great. So that'll
Yep.
be good for all of those groups involved.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you can find the full list of events, which is what we were going over there at dragdriverepeat.com/event list. And that's going to be your 2024 event list, of course.
Attention high performance enthusiasts and sportsman class racers, meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or the 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevy to Volkswagen and Audi, they've got you covered. What sets them apart? It's forged pistons, graphol coating, and phosphate treatment for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsports, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And for those listening on the podcast, Molly is spelt Mahle.
I know that's right. And again, big shout out to the podcast listeners. On my drives back and forth to Tulsa, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. So if there's any automotive podcasts that you listen to and you would like to let me know, please drop those in the thing. I already listened to the Dorkomotive podcast and the NHRA Insider by Brian Lone. So those are good ones. He just doesn't put out enough Dorkomotive podcasts. I'll tell you that much. Well, this week's spotlight for the Molly Motorsports co-pilot spotlight was submitted by Jonathan Stonecipher for his co-pilot with the circuit, which was Aaron Fowler, one of my favorite people. Both of those guys are my favorites. This shot here of in the car is amazing. This is the fun stuff that goes along with Jonathan Stonecipher. You can see he's smiling, and he's not just smiling because they're driving the car and he's taking the picture. He's smiling because that's what he does all the time. And then, of course, Eric caught a great shot of Aaron. I'm going to say detailing the car. I don't know what he's doing there, but
Yeah,
he's definitely doing something.
I think they were wiping off the oil on the engine.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, when asked for a time that Aaron saved the day, okay, that's one of our questions for the co-pilot spotlight. Jonathan replied, "He kept me from choking the counter clerk at the come and go." That's a great story, and I we got to have him back on and have him tell that story. So next time he's here, help me remember that we got to find out why he was going to choke the counter clerk at the come and go. I can only
Yeah.
imagine they probably didn't have sugar cookies in stock, and yeah, Jonathan's he likes cookies. And then obviously tell us a funny story about your co-pilot. And he said that Aaron has been struggling with making his race car noises, and Jonathan's previous co-pilot was very good at it. He said another trip or two, and he will also become one with the car. And if you guys remember, that was our conversation last time, is because the vibrations and the way that car drives and everything, you just kind of become one with it. So good luck, Aaron. We hope you become one with the car. If you guys would like to submit your own Molly Motorsports co-pilot spotlight, please do that. You can find it at dragdriverepeat.com/co-pilot spotlight. I'm gonna drop that in the chat right now because
Yes, please fill
we've
that
had
out.
several. Yeah, we're trying to go through and highlight them. I'm also putting articles together around those as I get time. So there's not just a ton that are up there, but there are several that are there for you guys to enjoy. All right. Perfect. Well, let's talk about PowerTube TV. Obviously, we've mentioned them a couple times tonight. I'm the host of a new Southeast Gassers Association TV show that they're doing. So you guys will see me putting that together. I will have the release date on it very soon, but they also have a new TV show that is out. So this debuts tonight, which is May 8th, right on the PowerTube TV app or on the YouTube channel, I'm sure as well. But I always like to download the app because they have so many different ways to watch. They have a podcast channel, I would say, and then they have, stuff like Pink's All Out and um, Pink Pastime. It's a great show. I've been watching the crap out of Pastime as I've been working from home now again. I've been putting it on just in the middle of the day to watch it. So they've got a lot of automotive content that's over there. Plus, they're helping a lot of, I would say, automotive, not YouTubers, but automotive creators they're
Yeah.
giving them an outlet as well to help kind of get out there and do all that stuff. So pretty exciting, and I'm excited to see where this School of Fabrication goes. I've never seen that channel anywhere, so I'm pumped to see what that brings with it. So if you
Yeah.
haven't done it yet, definitely download the PowerTube TV app. You can do it on your smartphone or on your smart TV, which is where I downloaded it as well.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to check that one out. I haven't heard of it either, but being at home and being able to throw on Power Tube TV while you're working, that's got to be one way to keep you motivated to keep going for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It really kind
Prob-
of helps, and they have a lot of podcasts on there too. So a lot of the folks that do kind of what we do, I can turn that on and get some tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, probably a little distracting, but also a little motivating.
Yeah. Well, if
Next
you
thing you
need that,
know, you're getting sitting there and you're just staring off at
that's
it,
what
and
I
you're
was
like,
gonna say.
oh,
If you need that 10 minutes to sit back and listen to something, you're like, oh man, I got to work. I got to get back over to the dinner table instead of putting the TV here and or my computer in front of the TV. The Howard's Cam community segment. If you'll hit the video that Harris at the Monoxide podcast, he recorded the audio on this, and guys, his voice is so buttery sweet. So
yep.
if you want to listen to some other automotive podcasts, find Monoxide Minnoxide on your podcast stuff. He's really kind of a car rally guy, like not
Mhm.
like dirt rally, but like road rally stuff with cars. But we're bringing him to the dark side of drag and drive. So if you'll hit that, then we'll bring on Luke after that.
All right, let's do it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
Dude, isn't that he's just a buttery voice guy, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's kick this off and let's bring Mr. Luke B on the show this evening, sir. How are you?
Dude, that video is awesome.
Oh man, it's his voice, dude. I'm telling you, he's a stud, man. He's a big stud. It's the way it works. Almost as studly as you, man. Well, if you'll take a second, introduce yourself, and then tell everybody kind of what you do at Howard's and how you can help us essentially.
Sure, I'm Luke Bant. Kind of go by Luke B everywhere in the racing world. I am Howard's Cam sales manager. Started as just one of their tech guys, but yeah, things just snowball, I guess. So yeah, now I'm kind of running the show on the sales side and got involved with these two yahoos, and yeah, it's awesome.
Well, you talk about things snowballing. What happens? Things snowball when you are really good at your job, and we know you're really good at your job because, dude, there's a ton of people that reach out to you and have, I would say, long conversations and whisper sweet nothings in your ear about cam stuff.
It's I had this conversation with one of the other guys at work the other day that it's getting weird that people are calling me and saying, hey, I heard about you on the Drag and Drive podcast, or I've been following you on Instagram and I love your truck and I saw you had your contact info on Instagram. It's like, I'm not a celebrity, but like you get little snips of that every once in a while. It's really strange.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, obviously you've been a part of the Drag Driver Pete brand for a long time. I think came on early last year, which has been awesome. And we've had a lot of conversations. You and I have become good friends between that. I know you and Eric are friends, and I feel bad because we've never come to see you. But we're gonna work on that sometime this year, I promise.
Yeah, it's not like none of us have anything to do during the day, right?
That's exactly right. Well, let's talk about some fun stuff because I want to get right into it. I want to talk about, you made a post the other day because that's also part of your job too, is social media side of Howard.
Yeah, I do our social media. So if you're contacting us on Instagram or Facebook, it's usually me who you're talking to.
Yep. So let's talk about this dude right here. Let's talk about like what's a fairgrounds cruiser camshaft for this big bad boy right here.
Yeah. So, um, if you want definitions on Pro Street or Fairground Cruiser, um, you can do one of two things. Either go watch this episode of Cotton's Car on it's HBO Max, I believe now, Discovery
Mm-hmm.
Plus, and there's one other format that they have now that you can actually stream that on, and they go through like fairgrounds cruisers and what real Pro Street was and the history, and then I think it was today or last night that the Roadkill Garage episode dropped of Freiburger's Pro Street car, and they kind of jump back into the history of it too.
That's
But all of those cars, they weren't race cars. I mean, that picture right there. I mean, you say like, oh yeah, that's not a race car. Well, it's really not. Um, the camshaft in it is it's a performance camshaft, but it's not optimized for the blower at all.
Yeah.
We looked at the specs that Cotton was putting together with that 871 blower, and then we gave him a set of Promax heads from competition products as well. Our guys over at Johnson Lifters jumped in and got him a set of short travel lifters for that thing. But the camshaft in it it's not mild by any means, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I think it was like low 250s on the intake, high 250s on the exhaust at 50. So a stout cam, but it is a 500 cubic inch engine, so it does eat that up. But the weird thing is you usually wouldn't see a blower car with a 110 lobe separation. But what that blower is more eye candy than anything else. I mean, it makes 5 to 8 pounds of boost, I think it did, and the car makes really good power. But we wanted to develop a sound with the camshaft, so that's the route we went. I know the 250s at 50 and a 110 lobe separation would basically anybody in a 2 block radius is going to be looking over their shoulder trying to figure out what's making that
Yes.
noise. And that's the fairgrounds cruiser right there.
Yeah. Low B chop blah, 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 as they're just idling through the traffic. And then, a lot of times the tires that were put on those cars weren't intended, like they were probably intended to hook, but they never did. And I hope
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it ends up burnout stuff, big converter and just let it eat.
yep, pretty much. Yeah, so Cotton, that car turned out amazing from what it
Yep.
was when Finnegan and David first found that thing. Um, that's really come a long way. Mike looked all over the place for those wheels, and I mean those are like vintage 1990 Pro Street wheels.
Yeah.
That's some OG stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
that was a fun
crazy to
project.
think like, we start talking about like vintage stuff, but I mean, really 30 years ago is vintage stuff now,
Yeah.
and it's cool to see the resurgence in this Pro Street that's been, I mean, really the last several months, I think have been a real hard push, probably the last year, maybe 18 months, something like that. But it's fun to watch this kind of come back around because like, there's a lot of people, myself included, that remember when Pro Street was a big deal. And now,
Yeah.
people are finding, I mean, like him finding those wheels and not just getting, something that would work now, but to take the time and find, I would say, a period correct wheel, which is so
Yeah.
weird to say about something from the 90s and early 2000s.
Yep, yeah. I mean it's like those memes you see. It says, "Show me a picture of a 10-year-old car," and we're picturing like a '98 Taurus. Because in our heads, that's a 10-year-old car.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right, dude. That's a hard life, man. That's a hard life to live, to realize like, oh man, yeah, 15-year-old car is a 2008. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, yeah.
that's intense. All right, well, I wanna give a shout out, and I showed this earlier on Facebook, but dude, this is one of the best memes ever created, right here, because
That
this
was like
came out. Oh, it was
early
right after
relationship
Sick Week. Yeah,
romance right there.
yeah, this was a good one, and it's only gotten better, man. I'm telling you, the race car friend stuff is, other people are kind of doing it now, and I love to see it when people are driving around, and whenever I put one of those videos out, inevitably somebody's like, "Oh man!" Every time I see a race car friend now, that's how I say it.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes,
yep.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well,
It's hilarious
let's talk.
because every time one of those you post one of those, I'll share it to our story, and I'm like, 80% of our customer base has no idea what this means, but it's hilarious
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I appreciate that for sure. And hey, hopefully some of them end up, saying it as well. I'm sure they do.
Yep.
Well, I have a few questions that are kind of probably, I don't know, goofy stuff that I thought of, but like, how long does it take to grind a cam? Not like to design it and all that kind of stuff, but like to physically grind it. That was one question I had in the back of my head.
Yeah. So this is I'll say it because I'm going to justify the response after I say it. um, it takes about 8 minutes to grind a camshaft.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
right now, there are guys everywhere flipping over their desks because they've been waiting 8 months, 10 months for their camshaft. Okay, we know it still takes us 8 minutes to grind a camshaft, but we're grinding camshafts that were ordered 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Because people are buying too much crap. It's a
Or
good
you're
problem to
waiting on
have.
cores.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
it's insane.
struggle on one of our previous episodes you were talking about.
Yeah. It's we'll get a couple thousand of one core in, and then next thing we know, we're running out of something else, and we knew we were going to run out. But what can you do? This stuff's been on order for 3 months. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just how the business is right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you, everyone that's ordering our stuff.
There's
and being
phones
patient
that are
with
in
us.
walls now.
What was that?
I said there's phones that are in walls right now. 8 minutes.
Yeah. I really need to get back there and film my CNC grind one of these days because
Oh,
it is
yeah.
wild how fast it is.
Oh, I
Well,
bet.
and I think that, that kind of stuff is really interesting just to know that because there's a lot of material that's being manipulated in that 8 minutes to cut that.
Yeah, manipulated is a very good word for that.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's wild.
What about
Well, yeah, go ahead.
what about the most common cause for cam damage that you see or hear about?
The most common cause, so I'll say I'll give a flat tap it and I'll give a roller. Flat tap it, most common thing we see is lifter board geometry is wrong. Um, the old school way to do flat tap it stuff was to drop your lifter in the hole and you basically take it, you'd move it up and down with your fingers, and if it felt good, it was good. If you turn the engine over by hand and you're sitting there and watching that lifter rotate, you're like, okay, everything's good. Well, that's you're checking that thing in a static position. It's not dynamic with the load of the valve train and the whole reciprocating assembly pushing everything back and forth. Also, the spec that we look for in a lifter bore clearance from the block bore to that outside of the lifter is 1.5 to 1.7 thou. If you can feel that much of a difference, if you can feel 1.5 to 1.7 thou through your fingertips, then you're amazing. You're the best machinist
Right.
ever. Yeah. So that's definitely the number one cause of failure we see on flat tappet stuff. On roller stuff, honestly, a lot of the failure we see is contamination, whether it's something that ended up in the oil or something else that's coming apart inside the engine. But roller stuff, especially hydraulics, there's little check valves in the bottom of those hydraulic lifters, and a lot of times we'll get hung up or stuck due to pieces of silicone, shop rag. This thing right here has a stock bottom end small block board in it, and I cleaned and cleaned and cleaned for that thing, and I just did the first oil change on it, and there's all sorts of stuff in the filter. So when you think you've cleaned enough, keep cleaning.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I like junkyard LS stuff, so we don't even clean them at all.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna kind of jab at us with the LS stuff, knowing that we're LS guys. Figured you'd say something like, LSDOD is, the biggest reason for cam damage or something.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, but he
that's
only
just the
thinks in
biggest
custom
reason
aftermarket.
to modify your LS.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right, next question. What is the biggest lift that you can remember spacing? Or specking, sorry. Biggest lift
Specking?
you've spec.
I did one last year that was like 875. Um, a lot of the stuff I do is all boosted combinations because I mean a lot of drag and drive guys and a lot of no prep guys are the people that have come to me.
Yeah.
The super high lift stuff is usually going to be an NA application, um, and a cylinder head that can utilize an inch of lift is, and you're $5,000-6,000 a head for something like that. So you're $10,000 to $12,000 and just aluminum on top of your engine for that.
Yeah,
So
so just base
um,
heads. Yeah.
yeah, us smaller cam companies don't really see customers like that. The people that see stuff like that are the high end comp cams guys, people like Ben at EFI University has got a couple stuff that's inch lift, stuff that's being specifically developed for stuff.
Yeah.
You'd have to put quite a rocker arm on a lot of our loads to get over an inch.
Man,
But
that's
also
crazy.
a testimony to how good
Yeah.
cylinder heads have gotten too. So they don't need that much lift anymore.
Right. And I'm a boost guy. However you get it in there, that's what I want. I like turbos typically, but and really mainly the reason I do it, especially for a drag and drive car, is because the valve train can be so much easier. You can have so much smaller of a valve train because you're creating the atmosphere that it's going to see. The NA
Yeah.
guys, we have Jonathan on all the time talking about it. The only way to get more air in there is with more lift. So if you need more lift, like
Yep.
there's
Yeah.
way more things that go into that. Yeah, it's naturally aspirated stuff is interesting, but yeah, I'm a big fan of turbo stuff, obviously, and that's what your Ranger is, right? Turbo small block Ford.
Yep. Single turbo small block Ford. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that is,
And
I would
stick shift.
consider that cam huge for a turbo cam. I think it's like 630 lift.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Why so big?
Kind of because I had to. So we talked the last time about how we start grinding cams, like the core that we start with. So I wanted to use a billet core in here. I needed the core to start at a certain lobe separation angle so I could have it at a 114 lobe separation. And then I wanted about 240 degrees of duration into it. And the only core that was available for that, making the thing incredibly small to what the core started as, it came out to 630 lift. So
Wow, that's awesome.
if there was another camshaft available, or if I wanted to grind that however I wanted and then send it out and have it reheat treated, it would probably be like 560s, 570s, but I used what we had.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and 630s, it probably sounds good too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about one question that is important for folks. Do they spec their cam first or their converter first?
Definitely camshaft. Converters behind the engine, finish the engine, then go to converter. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. But I will tell you that I mean, there's so many people out there that start with a 12-second ride, and 6-7 years down the road, it's an 8-second ride. I mean, they don't really have that option. They're upgrading as they go. So if you have a 3500 converter in your car and you're building a new engine or you're going boosted, then a lot of times we'll try and formulate the camshaft to meet what they already have, so they're not buying new parts, unless of course they say they want to buy new parts. But yeah, I'd say most times guys will be like, yeah, I had a tiny, like an RV cam in it with a 2200 stall and I want more. So we'll give them as much as that 2200 will take and kind of go from there if they don't want to change converters. But in an ideal world, you'd pick it last.
Yeah, that makes sense, because then, and a lot of times having the plan ahead of time, knowing you have a 2200 stall that's going to absolutely, you're going to hate life when you step into something like a bigger cam. Take the time, save the extra $2,000 and do it both at the same time. Like, because then you could take the cam specs and go, hey, I'm currently running 1170s. I want to run 1090s. I want to step up, or I want to go to 10.0s. And you don't necessarily need to build an entirely new engine. You just want to go, hey, I want to take this turbo. I want to max this turbo out and tell me what cam I need, and then I'm going to go talk to the converter guy too, and they can tell from the cam that you're specing to kind of the converter to kind of the whole plan of the story of the car.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people are probably listening to this question being like, oh, duh, that's stupid. But I can't tell you, I mean, just this morning I had a guy call. It was a 550-inch big block Chevy. It was 11 and a half to 1. He wanted to run it on 87 octane, and it had a 308 rear gear and a 2500 converter. And I will tell you that none of that works together.
Yeah.
And he had a cam picked out that was 800 lift. So sometimes, I mean, the customer is always right. So I gave him the information that he asked for. I made a suggestion, but I mean, there's people out there that they just start buying stuff and they end up with combinations like that really aren't ideal. So to what Mike just said, it's planning is very important and all that.
Yeah. And I think we're probably in a point now, at least from what I see, is folks aren't just buying randomly now. I think people are willing to have the conversation. Folks like you are easy to contact. They're easy to message back and forth with and get those answers where, 10 or 15 years ago, you really probably couldn't do that. Yeah. He's running 10s, needs to go 8s. Yes, that's completely possible, Jonathan. You're just going to need to put some nitrous or some boost to that setup. Please put a big turbo.
By the way, when I first logged on to the chat, all I heard was come and go and choking out.
Yeah. Listen, sometimes you get
my screen popped up and that's what I heard.
Yep. Well, Jonathan likes to party and go choking people. That's not typically his MO, but that'll be a good story. I'm telling you, he's kind of our naturally aspirated expert. So he comes on pretty often when we have goofy questions and things like that. So we'll have to tell that story in the future. Well, last question, because I'm trying to run the show a little shorter tonight. What makes a cam so choppy?
Overlap. So the more overlap, so when your exhaust valve and your intake valve are open at the same time, that is what creates that choppy noise. A lot of people will want that choppy noise, but then they have vacuum brakes or stuff like that. So my thing that I say is when you hear a car that has a choppy idle, it's the vacuum signal leaving the engine. But yeah, it's overlap. So if you know your cam is choppy, go ahead and look at it, and I bet you probably have at least 10 degrees, if not more, of overlap in your camshaft if you look at your card.
So a car or like the engine setup in my old truck it's a simple 4.8 turbo deal. It doesn't have hardly any chop at all, which is what we want because I'm forcing air in and it's holding it in there because those valves are closed, right?
Yep. Yeah. So the only way you can make something like that chop is you got to play with your ignition timing and give your ignition timing a lot of swing and give it false chop like we do with all these LS trucks.
Yeah. It's funny because you typically LSs don't typically have a lot of there's not like that 292 510 lift small block Chevrolet cam that everybody ran that just there's not a lot of that goes into LS stuff.
Yep.
Because we boost a lot of that. And then last question, I promise. Differences between like a nitrous and a boosted cam, like a nitrous and turbo cam, is there much difference there?
Boosted cam, if we're talking about turbochargers, what we're trying to do is create heat energy to spool the turbine wheel, because as soon as the turbine wheel lights, that's going to spool the compressor side. So that's why you see turbo cams that only have like 4 or 5 degrees difference between the intake and exhaust duration. It's because we're shortening up that exhaust duration, because what that does is create more heat, and that heat then transfers to the turbo, etc. When we're looking at nitrous and supercharger camshafts, those camshafts are very, very similar. We have either a false high density charge in a nitrous application because you're injecting nitrous oxide that will then turn to oxygen once it's ignited, or a supercharger that is just putting in a high density charge. but then we don't. All we need to do with the exhaust is get it out. We're not relying on it to create heat or anything. So we want to move that out. So that's why you'll see nitrous and supercharger camshafts with a bunch of exhaust duration. Usually, you know that the thing's real serious when you see about 15 degrees of split in between a intake and exhaust duration. That's also why they run like garbage when they're on motor.
Because there's nothing keeping that stuff in, right? I mean, I'm understanding
Yeah,
that right.
yeah, you have no siphon effect because the exhaust was open so long that basically if you put like a back pressure sensor in the exhaust on something like that, that exhaust valve is open so long you're letting that all that pressure dissipate. And on turbo, we don't let that happen. We keep all that in there so it gets hot.
Nice, dude. Big time learning stuff today. Big time learning.
Right.
Well, what else does we talk about cam stuff here all the time? But what else can people, if they're calling Luke B, what are some other parts and pieces that they can get?
Um, it seems like I spend more and more time on the phone with helping guys get set up if they bought like a Terminator um, X Stealth or a what's the other one, the throttle body injection one.
So you've got the
Sniper,
Holly,
sniper.
yeah, the
Yeah,
sniper, yeah.
walk guys through the sniper stuff. So um, the camshaft will really change the dynamic of what a tune will look like. So if you're having trouble with that stuff, I mean, give me a call. I've done enough of them that I can usually get something in the right direction and at least get you idling and moving around so you can start letting that closed loop do its job. That and I mean, valve spring pressures is something I feel like a lot of people overlook, and I spend a lot of time on the phone with guys working through valve spring stuff. So it's another thing that I enjoy doing as well.
Yeah, and I was really, I mean, that's great stuff there. I was really meaning parts.
Oh, parts.
Like the
Oh,
lifters, intakes, all that kind of stuff.
yeah. Well, our belt drives getting more and more popular. I'm probably going to see one or two of those on drag and drive cars this next year. I've heard of
Yes.
some floating out the door. Um, Everybody always forgets we have billet crankshafts. We got guys out there making 3,000 horsepower on our billet cranks. So if
Nice.
you're in the market for a crankshaft, we have center counterweighted billet stuff. So
Wow,
that's the money
that's
right
cool.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, but worth it. Very worth it.
yeah,
And you get to
yeah.
talk to Luke V about purchasing that stuff. Sweet, dude. I enjoy him a bunch.
Oh
He's a
yeah.
fun guy, and really, just the knowledge that he has in his head is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
what I was
always
gonna
good to
say.
be able to get a
He,
little bit of that out.
yep, he's fun and smart, so
Yeah,
definitely teaches us a few things every time we talk to him.
yeah. I feel really dumb when I'm asking a lot of that stuff, but I feel like if I'm asking this, somebody else needs to know that too.
That's right.
Yep. Well, cool. Well, guys, again, thank you for being our race car friends. Thank you for hanging out tonight. I know the show is a little bit short tonight, but listen, I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff going on. I got a long weekend. If you have Flow Racing, we will be live streaming. I'll be helping with that whole process this weekend on the Midwest Drag Racing Series event, the Throwdown in T Town. If you are anywhere within the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, please come over and see us and hang out and do all that. And I would love to see some of our drag and drive race car friends that are going to be there. We talked about Ron Augustine earlier, who's going to be in attendance. He's going to get in one of the VIP starting line passes. So it's going to be kind of fun doing that. And guys, we can't do this without you. I mean, really, truly, your shares, your likes, your comments help every bit of this stuff. If you haven't gone back through some of our photos in the past, Eric has posted up more than 1,800 photos, I think, to the circuit. So if you attended that or know somebody that did, jump in there and tag them in that, please. We appreciate that. You guys help keep everything moving forward for all of this. And guys, thank you so much to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports. Eric Grillo from Molly is going to be on next week's Drag Drive Repeat show. That's going to be episode 63. Driven Racing Oil. That whole team is going to be on at some point in the near future. If I have to drive to Memphis and lock them in a room and get them all on here and have fun. Car Change 3D, Corey and the team there have been amazing. Corey actually came down to the circuit. It was a blast. Performer Belt Transmissions, thanks to Ryan and the team over there. And Howard's Cams. Luke B was down here tonight. It was awesome hanging out with him and learning some stuff. Sweet Patina again, guys. Pick you up your own Sweet Patina merchandise or products as well using code DDR10. That is DDR10 at sweetpatina.com. Racing Junk Classifieds with the brand new Drag and Drive segment. That's so cool that they offer that. And then PowerTube TV, our newest media partner, pumped about this partnership. This is really a good deal for us in the community. It allows us to get more content out to more people. So it's always a plus.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
All right. See ya.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.